We all begin in our own arena. It is a place surrounded by darkness, a quiet space where our deepest fears and uncertainties live. Here, the shadows are not just around us, they are a part of us. They whisper stories of not being good enough, smart enough, or brave enough. This is where true leadership is born, not in the spotlight of success, but in the quiet courage to face the darkness within. It is the moment we decide to stand up, even when our knees are shaking. We feel the weight of expectation, the sting of past failures, and the paralyzing fear of being seen for who we truly are. The choice is simple but not easy. Stay hidden or step into the vulnerability of the unknown. The first step forward is an act of defiance against the shadows. It is a commitment to rumble with our own stories. With each deliberate movement, the darkness does not vanish entirely. Instead, it begins to part, revealing a path we could not see before. This is not about being fearless. It is about feeling the fear and walking forward anyway. It is about choosing courage over comfort. This journey requires us to acknowledge the parts of ourselves we have tried to ignore. We must name the emotions that hold us captive. Leadership starts with the profound act of self-awareness, of turning toward the struggle instead of running away from it. To lead others, we must first learn to lead ourselves through this internal landscape. It is messy, uncomfortable work. It means admitting we do not have all the answers. It means being willing to fall, to fail, and to get back up again with a little more wisdom and a lot more humility. The shadows represent every difficult conversation we avoid, every piece of feedback we dismiss, and every risk we are too afraid to take. But within these shadows lies our greatest potential for growth. They are not monsters to be slain, but teachers to be understood. The arena is where we learn that our power is not in perfection, but in our persistence. The journey out of the darkness is not a sprint, it is a slow, intentional walk. Each step is a practice in self-compassion and a testament to our resilience. We learn to replace the armor of perfectionism and cynicism with the shield of authenticity. This transformation is the foundation of daring leadership. It is the quiet, internal work that allows us to show up in the world as our true selves. When we can stand in our own story, we give others permission to do the same. We begin to understand that the darkness was never the enemy. It was simply the starting point for a journey toward the light, a journey that redefines what it means to be a leader. As we walk this path, we learn the alchemy of our own emotions. We discover that what we once perceived as weakness is actually a source of incredible strength. Consider fear. For so long, we are taught to suppress it, to pretend it does not exist. But a daring leader learns to listen to their fear. It becomes a compass, pointing toward what truly matters. When we feel fear, it is often a sign that we are stepping into our courage. It sharpens our senses and transforms into intuition, a deep knowing that guides us to make brave, clear choices. Fear is the quiet whisper that says, "Pay attention. This is important." It is the gateway to our most courageous work. Then there is anger, an emotion so often deemed destructive and unprofessional. We are told to bottle it up, to remain calm and composed. But what if anger is simply a signal that a boundary has been crossed or an injustice has occurred? When we lean into our anger with curiosity, we can transform its fiery energy into a force for good. It becomes the fuel for justice, the catalyst that drives us to create fairer systems, and the motivation to speak up for those who cannot. Channeled with intention, anger is not a wildfire that destroys. It is a controlled burn that clears the way for new growth and a more equitable world for everyone. Sadness, too, holds a hidden power. It is an emotion we often try to outrun, believing it will swallow us whole. We numb it, distract from it, and do anything to avoid its weight. Yet, when we allow ourselves to sit with our sadness, to truly feel our grief and loss, something beautiful can emerge. It connects us to our shared humanity and deepens our empathy. Sadness can be transformed into art, into stories, poems, and music that heal not only ourselves, but also the people around us. It is through our sorrow that we find the language to express the most profound parts of the human experience, creating connection and understanding in its wake. Finally, we confront envy, the quiet shame of wanting what others have. It is an emotion that thrives in comparison and secrecy. But when we have the courage to name our envy, to admit what we long for, it loses its power over us. We can turn envy on its head and see it as a map to our own desires. It points to what we value and what we want to cultivate in our own lives. Instead of letting it fester into resentment, we can use it as a catalyst for self-improvement. Envy becomes the spark that ignites our ambition, pushing us to learn, to grow, and to strive for our own version of success, not someone else's. Imagine a future shaped by leaders who have mastered this emotional alchemy. They are not stoic, unfeeling figures on a distant pedestal. They are grounded, real, and deeply human. These leaders guide their teams with a calm clarity that comes from having faced their own inner shadows. They do not pretend to have all the answers, but they create spaces where everyone feels safe enough to find them together. In their presence, trust is not just a corporate buzzword. It is the air that everyone breathes. Teams operate with psychological safety, knowing that they can innovate, take risks, and even fail without fear of shame or blame. This is a future where vulnerability is the bedrock of courage. In this world, we teach our children these skills from the very beginning. Imagine classrooms where emotional literacy is as fundamental as reading and writing. Children learn to name their feelings, to understand their triggers, and to navigate conflict with compassion. They are taught that fear is a signal for courage, that anger can be a call for justice, and that sadness connects them to others. They grow up knowing that their emotions are not weaknesses to be hidden, but data to be understood. These children will become the next generation of leaders, equipped with the emotional agility to build a more connected and empathetic society, healing wounds before they deepen. This vision extends beyond the workplace and the classroom into our communities. We can create spaces for collective healing, where art and technology come together to help people process shared trauma and celebrate resilience. Picture community centers with immersive art installations that allow people to walk through stories of struggle and triumph. Imagine virtual reality platforms that foster empathy by letting us experience life from another's perspective. In this future, we use our most advanced tools not to escape our humanity, but to deepen it. We come together to transform our collective sadness into art and our shared anger into meaningful social change. The ripple effect of this new leadership is boundless. When leaders model emotional courage, it cascades through every level of an organization and every corner of a community. It creates a culture where people feel seen, heard, and valued for their whole selves. This is not a soft, idealistic dream. It is a strategic imperative for building resilient, innovative, and thriving systems. It is a future where our greatest power comes not from what we control, but from what we are willing to feel. It is a world where connection is our highest value, and courage is our most practiced skill, leading to profound and lasting transformation for all. The leader who emerges from this journey is a beacon of integrated strength. They stand firmly in the light, not because they have banished the darkness, but because they have learned to dance with it. Their wisdom is etched not in academic theories, but in the lived experience of rumbling with vulnerability. They understand that true balance is not about avoiding difficult emotions, but about holding them in tension, holding courage and fear, joy and sorrow, certainty and doubt. This leader does not lead from the front, shouting orders, but from the center of the team, fostering connection and empowering others to step into their own power. Their presence is a grounding force. They guide their team with a quiet confidence that inspires trust. Having transformed their own fear into intuition, they can sense the unspoken anxieties in a room and address them with empathy. Having turned their anger into a passion for justice, they ensure that processes are fair and that every voice is heard. Their leadership is compassionate, rooted in the understanding that everyone is fighting a hard battle. They know that the most powerful transformations, both personal and professional, happen when people feel safe enough to bring their whole, authentic selves to the arena. This leader creates that safety. This is the embodiment of daring leadership, a way of being that is both strong and tender, brave and humble. This leader has done the work. They have faced their own shadows and integrated the lessons learned. They are not perfect, and they do not pretend to be. Instead, they model the courage of imperfection, showing their team that it is okay to be human. They lead with an open heart, creating a culture where feedback is a gift, failure is a teacher, and every challenge is an opportunity to grow together. They're a guiding light, illuminating the path for others, not by showing them the way, but by walking alongside them. Ultimately, this journey from shadow to light is a circle. The leader, now grounded and whole, becomes a source of light for others who are just beginning their own walk in the darkness. They create a virtuous cycle of courage, where one person's bravery inspires another's, and the entire group becomes more resilient, more innovative, and more connected. They are living proof that our deepest struggles can become our greatest strengths. This is the future of leadership, a future built on the radical idea that the most powerful thing a leader can do is be human, with kindness, wisdom, and an unwavering belief in the potential of others.